Coyotes Nation, I got 2 words for you. Josh Doan, hit it.
You're Locked On Coyotes, your daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
The Doan family legacy continuing in Arizona. Welcome, everyone, to Locked On Coyotes, #1 daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes. I'm your host, Robyn Leonio, alongside Matthew Jacobson. I want to thank everyone for making this show your first listen every day. We are free and available everywhere you get your podcasts. We got a great show in today's episode because we're going to get you some arena news in a little bit, but we are going to start off by talking about Josh Doan, Matthew, because Josh Doan absolutely killing it in his first week as a Coyote.
Yeah, end of episode. We don't need to talk about it anymore. Just 2 words, Josh Doan. This is an individual that was having a great year in Tucson. Obviously, asterisk is after Dylan Guenther left, he became the leading goal scorer on the team. He is up there among the leads for rookie goal scorers. He was up there, I think, the number one game-winning goal per rookies in the AHL. He's up around top 5 in the league. This kid was getting it done, Robyn. And now, after 62 games this season, 26 goals, 20 assists, 46 points at the AHL level, more goals than his dad at the AHL level, Doaner comes up. He plays his first NHL game against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Funny enough, both those games, Columbus and Nashville, I didn't get to be there for because I had class. But I think Doaner would be fine with me missing it for class. 2 goals against Columbus on the 26th. 2 assists against March on the 28th. That was the first time since, 81? Was it Dale Howardchuk? It's the third time in franchise history, twice for the Jets versus the Coyote, that a rookie scored multiple points in their first 2 NHL games. And then 2 nights later against the Rangers, on the 30th, he records an assist, Robyn, which means he is the first Coyote in franchise history to record a point in his first 3 NHL games. 2 goals, 3 assists, 5 points, above a point per game player. Robyn, Josh Doan.
Josh Doan. That's, you know what? End episode right there. No, his first game, I want to point out for a sec when he got 2 goals. I was excited for that, right? It was interesting because I was actually I was working that night, right? So I was working, and I had a job, a quote job code change mid shift, right? Instead of working in the guest services area of this job, I worked at the bar. And guess what? Working at the bar, I have more access to the TVs. So I even had a couple friends of mine who knew the game was coming up that night. And they're like, hey, you're going to tune on the Coyotes game tonight, right? And I'm like, of course, it's Josh Doan's first game. Why would I not? This dude that wanted me to get it on, he goes out for a minute. And he says, it's like, oh, Coyotes are up? Who scored? And I'm like, guess who? He's like, no. And I'm like, yes. He's like, he did? It was amazing. I watched it too. Like, deflection master.
He does it all. He really, he is more finesse than his dad. And you guys already know that Shane is my favorite player of all time. A 19 should be retired league-wide because of Doaner. I'll stand by that. I don't care. But this kid, while he has more, I'm just going to say finesse and talent than his dad did, and I mean that in high regard, he's also willing to go to those dirty areas, getting in front of the net constantly. He has a decent pass, pretty good shot, excellent hand-eye coordination. His dex is probably a nat 20 in D&D terms here.
See, no, he's the very reason why, like, a player like Josh Doan's the very reason why, like, when I go out and play in just beer league, I just want to get myself in front of the net and just hold my stick somewhere, and I know it's gonna land, and it's someone's, and like and I'm gonna get a goal because I know like that's the best place to do it. Just get in that dirty area, right in front of the net, right in front of the crease. Yeah, sure, you might get pushed around, but hey, worth the risk.
And then he scores a second. Just for a couple extra little things. I noted this. He had 6 shots, 5 shots, and then only 1 shot in the game against the Rangers. He kind of seemed like he was everywhere, but just couldn't find or couldn't find a shot on net. +2, +2, neutral, plus minus. His plus minus is very good. He's very much defensively responsible, and I know that 13 minutes, 15 seconds, 14 minutes, 29 seconds, 12 minutes, 42 seconds. They're limiting his time on ice, rightfully so. He's a kid. You don't want him out there first line minutes yet. However, in the small sample size, small amount of ice time, he gets a game-winning goal in his first NHL game, including 2 NHL goals. 50% of his NHL goals are game-winning goals. Continuing the trend he was setting up in Tucson with the amount of game-winning goals he recorded. Josh Doan seems to score when they really need him to, and I am just excited and hoping that tomorrow, well, today when you watch this, we'll get to see another Josh Doan goal because we need to keep this streak alive for 91 games.
Oh yeah, wouldn't that be nice? Great number, by the way.
Yeah, great number. Just took Shane. I love the graphic where it's Shane's number, and they just
And
reverse it. It's like it's
reversed
been
it.
1,000 whatever days since Doan played for the Coyotes. Or was it 3,000? I'm not paying attention. I don't want to feel older than I already feel.
I just love that Doan is number 91 as the reverse of his dad. Like it's like the coolest thing ever, especially because Doan is, as we mentioned, on the previous podcast, the first Arizona born, raised, and trained player.
You know what? I think I'm disappointed in Josh. He should have picked 96, since if he's the first Arizona born, raised, and trained, he should have been the number of the year they came to Arizona.
Yeah, but 91 was still nice because it's just that homage to his dad.
Well, also having his own identity. Like
Yeah.
he didn't pull and I don't think it was ever like when Brett Hall came here, "Oh, you're gonna retire my dad's number so I can wear it." I think they just offered it to him and he said yes. But it was never like a, "Hey, let's take Shane's name, let's take Shane's number and I'll retire it for you." It's no. You get your own identity, and I appreciate that he had pretty much ever since college. The only other number that would have been even more special is like 94, which he finished his freshman year of college wearing because of Shotzi.
Because of Matt Shot, yep.
So, but other than that, it's like it lets him create his own identity while giving us another Doan, and he also has his own identity on the ice. I think it matches very well because, like, we have a lot of a connection with he's Shane's son. If you're a Doan, we love you here. But also he's Josh. He's not just another Doan. He is Josh.
He is Josh. I will say this though, and this is kind of a thought to close on for this first segment.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, just like because there's multiple different parts to this, but the joy on Shane's face when Josh scored, the absolute pure, unfiltered joy that Shane Doan had.
That was pride. That was like I'm just gonna say it now as someone who's never made their parents proud. I wish I can make my parents proud. I wish I can make my dad proud like that. I'll say it right now. You can bully me in the comments. That made me cry a little bit. Like that was just joyous, like a happy, special moment, and we get to see our legend excited because of what his kid is doing on the ice. Like, oh no,
for the team that he played for.
The team that he played for, the team that his son grew up idolizing, and even he said when he got drafted that Josh is like the biggest Coyotes fan. First off, he's not. I am. But secondly, he's like Josh is like the biggest Coyotes fan. Like that is it was the crowd. That's probably the loudest. I'm going off video footage and talking to my coworkers when I ended up coming in for the next shift on Thursday against Nashville just for a couple hours. Like even they were saying this is the loudest it ever been at Mullet. It's just so special that like it meant a lot, I think, to this market no matter what. And the
Oh yeah,
fact that,
no,
you know what? I'll get negative for 5 seconds. The team can relocate tomorrow, and Josh Doan is will always be the first and maybe only player in history to play for the Sun Devils, the Roadrunners, and the Coyotes.
You're right. Absolutely. Last thing I will say in a similar note, on the television broadcast after the game when they had Shane deliver the game pucks to Josh, like that was
so sweet. It was so
so
sweet.
sweet. I love that so much. Anyways, we'll continue. I'm sure we will continue to talk about this run Josh Doan is having, and keep talking about him in general. Just like we've been talking about. We've been locked on Cooley for a little bit. We'll probably be locked on Doan for a little bit. For the next
Locked on
couple
Cooley,
weeks.
Gunner, and Donor. Let's go. 20 more years.
Let's go. Well, we still got more stuff to talk about in this episode. It's got back to arena news because, of course, you guys all want it so bad. We'll get to that right after a quick word from our sponsors on today's show. And today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. I know it gets very frustrating when trying to buy tickets. To me, it has been crazy. I look at tickets and I see the fee costs me double the cost of the ticket sometimes if it's a really cheap ticket. I find out maybe that cheap ticket, it's a terrible spot because it's a obstructed seat or it just doesn't look good or it's hard to get to, hard to access. Game Time is out there to fix everything because it is now an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets for baseball games a lot faster and easier. Prices on Game Time could actually go down closer to the first pitch with killer last-minute deals, all-in pricing, views from your seats, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time keeps the best work out of buying MLB tickets. And I will say, it will be the only app that I use when buying tickets to the Diamondbacks this season, particularly when the Diamondbacks play the Giants, but it's a whole nother situation. Browse the Game Time app, talk about, and just look at any specific game that you guys want to watch. Like I said, I might want to take a look at later on when Giants versus Diamondbacks here in Arizona in a few months. Even though it's a few months from now, I'm still going to take a look at it. I'm still watching the prices at this moment. You can save up to 60% off buying tickets for last minute sports, concerts, and theater, all in pricing. So you can see all the prices up front, with no surprises, no surprise fees at checkout. Great seat views. You can actually see where you're going to sit before you buy. And once again, lowest price guaranteed, or Game Time will credit 100% of the difference. 110% of the difference, that is. Take the guesswork out of buying a ticket with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Let's get back to arena news, Matthew, or just arena talk, as we should say, because the arena saga is never ending for the Arizona Coyotes until it's over, until it's built, until
until they're playing in Quebec. You can say it, Robyn. We got the information leaked to us last week. It's official. They've already started moving. I've already seen they've already started moving everything. They're going to unretire 19 specifically. Just to re-retire for Joe Sakic. He played there for like 2 years, right? 1 year? I don't know. I don't care.
Sure. Let's go with that. But let's talk about what's been going on lately. We're still waiting for the auction date to get posted. Mm-hmm. So that hasn't been done yet. It still might take a little bit of time. I think they still have a little bit of time, right? Because they said it. What are they looking for? Because it says it needs to be posted 10 weeks before. It needs to be posted for sale 10 weeks before the actual auction date.
Yep.
Which hasn't been done yet. We're still looking for. I think we're still targeting that June time.
Yeah, they're still
Um,
targeting mid-June. So like, and I know I was reading Craig's most recent Q&A, and it's pretty much like it was just emphasized that they're kind of doing their due diligence because it's a real estate, type transaction, and he put up this nice little um timeline and consideration, and the only part honestly that I care about is the auction part. They're still shooting for mid-June. To my knowledge, let me go ahead and look at the calendar here. That would still mean they would have till what, next week to still reach that mid-June. Because if you consider mid-June, let's say like the week of June 20th, so that's like 2, 6, 8, 9, technically 10. So I think they technically have until like if they wanted to really like middle of like dead middle, like next Wednesday. They were supposed to do it last week. That was the first report. However, that was never a it's going to happen today. It was a that's what they're aiming for. So I don't take this as a hard date. This is literally just an example number. To stay on track, I think it needs to be posted by like around like middle of next week to stay completely on track for that mid-June.
yeah, which again, so don't worry too much yet. That it's being that it's taking this while to get here today. I know a lot of you guys want it to be over. I think we all want it to be over.
Yes.
Um, it is absolutely blowing our minds. It's just I'm like, come on, we know where we want to be with this. Let's just get this over with.
Not allowed
Please.
to, Robin. We have to sit and suffer. We have to just sit here and suffer. Because that's what being a Coyotes fan really is. Sitting here and suffering.
Yeah. By the way, did you see the conspiracy theory about the because last year when the Coyotes didn't get didn't get Bedard, they didn't win Tempe, but this year they got a chance for Celebrini, and then just, just saying, just
Look,
saying.
I'll say this. That is objectively a better conspiracy theory than the NHL is tired of Morello. So they're going to force a relocation. And then in 3 years when the arena is built, give Morello an expansion team. That's still objectively a better
I mean, yeah.
the
I mean, because
stupidity we hear. Robin, the stupidity we hear on a daily basis.
the people who post conspiracy theories all over the place, it is hilarious. I love it. Um,
Bless their heart. Then again, it's like similar to the people that still post about like the Loch Ness monster, and like they try to like for example, I can disprove the Loch Ness monster with one piece of information. Let's forget the multiple studies and whatnot, the how much coverage has gotten, how much research has gone into it. They they literally uh like portray it as an outdated portrayal of a plesiosaur. A plesiosaur could not do that swan-like position with its neck. It very likely would have broken its neck. So like it's very easy to point like, hey, that's not happening. Very similar to like half of what 75, 92%, 95% of what I hear on the internet or people try to tell me or say, "Oh, I know what's going on." I'm like, literally the plesiosaur can't do that with its neck. Like that entire conspiracy makes no sense because of this one thing, and that's not even me putting in the effort. That's me looking at it like that's a flimsy conspiracy theory.
it is funny though. It is funny to think, and not a bad theory to hint, not quote theory, not a bad hope to hinge on. The Coyotes both get Celebrini and the new arena this year.
It's not, you know what? Actually, Robin, it is. It is because we're setting ourselves up for disappointment. I'm gonna say it right now. If the Coyotes were
No,
ever going to win a draft
I'm,
lottery, they
I'm
would have
not
got
saying
Austin Matthews.
I'm not saying to leave an expectation for it. I'm just saying to you could put the hope out there. You can still have hope.
But the problem, Robin, with our version of measured hope is this fan base, and I'm part of you. I do this too. I wanted Connor Bedard. All right, that's how I understand the psychology here. Okay, it's because you give us a small bit of hope, and instead of hearing, "Hey, we can go get dinner," I'm hearing we're gonna get married, have a big house, and have 6 children. Like there is no like mild one step at a time. It's you give us a little bit of hope, we're going for the fences, and then we're gone. We are just gone at a certain point.
That's Coyotes fans all the time. We're always gone.
Always. Oh, Robyn, you can't word it that way because they don't show up to Mullet Arena.
Okay, yeah, no.
This fan base has been gone for so long because it doesn't
always
exist.
always in their heads of hopes and dreams.
Anyway, look, we need to take a break. We're gonna give some closing thoughts on the arena stuff, but we do need to take a brief little break here. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Say goodbye to busted brackets because FanDuel will let you bet on every game of the tourney. I'm going to say tournament. That sounds weird. Of the tournament. Whenever you're betting on a big upset or a 1 seed, it's time to go dancing on America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, customers get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. That is $200 to use on point spreads, money lines, and you can even pick who's going to win it all. Just visit fanduel.com/lockedon and bet on college hoops until they cut down the nets. I can read, Robyn. I know I can. We have some thoughts because you were reading this article. You sent it to me. I'm just going to be frank here. All right. My name's Matthew, but I'll be frank here. I don't understand this.
Not Frank Spaghetti. No.
I didn't even realize that. I was making a dad joke. I was trying to make my wife happy for once. Anyway, so I don't understand the whole Ishbia thing where it's like right now because of an agreement, the city of Phoenix can't like offer tax benefits to opposing sports venues or sports/entertainment venues. Per Craig Morgan's very consistent reports over the last month or so, the Coyotes are not currently looking for any sort of tax breaks. It could be possible. None of us are in those meetings. However, I trust Craig, and unless I see any new information that contradicts him, I'm taking whatever Craig says at face value. So as of right now, there is no desire for the Coyotes, or at least no attempt. Desire could be there. There is no attempt to have tax breaks. So I'm not sure if that really does anything to the Coyotes' hopes. However, Robyn, you are the one reading up on this. I want you to take lead here. You want to explain this nice little bill that could pass that could benefit the Coyotes here?
Yeah, so this came from an article that I was reading on Arizona Sports, in which and again, there's only some things to grasp from it. There's not a whole lot of meat, but you can make some theories, as we talked about before, some theories based off of this. What we know is from what we're hearing is a former Coyotes executive who's trying to create the idea of getting a soccer venue for a professional soccer franchise in Arizona, and testified to the Arizona Senate about getting a special taxing district for a theme park district, and thus trying also getting an arena in around that Mesa location that the Coyotes wanted. Because there's some interesting things about the public money being able to use for a theme park district and have a special tax district up to 9% for sales, to cover construction debts, and it's only bound within that area, that specific district. Sound familiar, guys? Cough, cough, Tempe, I'm looking at you. So if this creates the opening, this discussion creates the opening for the Coyotes, if they wanted to say, hey, we want, like, since we're building on undeveloped land, we want to at least get some construction costs for infrastructure covered. And this will be paid back via the theme park district, that 9% taxing district. Everything that gets built on this land will be covered. Same concept as the TEDs. What did they call it?
They pitched it like an additional tax. So, well, it wasn't a state enforced tax; it was a self imposed
There we go.
additional
Yeah.
fee. And for some reason, I have no idea why I forgot to mention this. So I'm just gonna put a small like picture some brackets here. One more of the concerns, or at least not concerns, but like requirements for this land sale is that the Coyotes, like, you have to pay for that up front. So tying into what Robyn is talking about here with, let's say, the infrastructure cost, which, oh hey, also, like you were mentioning, rings a bell with the TED. Let's say the infrastructure cost. This is a number I'm pulling directly from my rear end, is 200 million. Well, then, even if it's just a portion of that, so let's just use 50%, so 100 million, you could impose this additional up to 9% in sales tax exclusively for what is sold within the district. Same thing with Tempe, and that could go to paying off the debts for construction.
Now here's where things get interesting, right? So as of right now, a theme park district requires county and city approval.
Mm-hmm.
But with the new legislation that you were talking about, the new bill, it would require no city approval, just an okay from the county and approval from the state legislator, so the House and Senate of the Arizona, as well as the sign off by the Arizona governor. So no public vote, no other public forums, just a thumbs up.
Yeah, and I want to make sure I am interpreting this correctly. It's the same concept with the TED of an additional 9% on purchases within that would help. Basically, it's a restructure. It's a restructure for repayment. So same thing with the TED is, unless you went another asterisk, unless there are other tax breaks and other deals that we are not currently aware of, just to protect us, trying to be reasonable here, but as of right now, there's nothing like that. It would literally just be that additional up to 9% that would then be able to pay for construction debts. So, like I said, I gave example numbers, only stuff that you buy within this district. If you, let's say you go to Desert Ridge, let's say this goes right up where they want it to go up, but you go to Desert Ridge, you wouldn't be paying for it.
Right. Now, to kind of get things ready for you guys, to let you guys know where things are at with this and how this affects the Coyotes, specifically if they really wanted to go from that in this. The article says that Gutierrez confirmed the team will explore a potential theme park district to cover the Coyotes' potential arena, but this didn't say that whether or not they actually will. However, also said in this article that he told the Sports Business Journal that they have no connection or any interest in being involved with the legislation itself. So, like, yeah, we'll explore it happening if it happens, but we're not going to lobby for this legislation to pass.
Yeah, essentially, if this passes, cool. We can explore. Essentially, they can just redo how they're funding for the construction, not the purchase of the land, not X, Y, or Z, just specifically the cost of construction. They can explore that if this does pass, which, of course, it's very logical. You right there watching, all right? If there was a, hey, we're thinking about passing a 2%, like, additional universal tax deduction for X amount of people, like whatever your earning bracket could be, like if you have 2 jobs, whatever it is, put your own variable there. And it's like, oh yeah, I'll explore that. I'll see if I qualify. If I don't, it is what it is. I'm not planning my entire thing around it, but hey, we'll see if we can work with it. If we can't, oh well. That's kind of the approach right here, which is logical.
And as a reminder, because apparently no one in Tempe got this right. It only applies to sales within the district itself if this thing actually happens.
No, Robin, no, it's if I buy something in Quartzsite, it pays for it, right? If I buy something in Buckeye, if I buy something in Mesa, that's how that works, right, Robin?
Yeah, absolutely.
Look, I'm so glad this will not require public votes because I don't genuinely, I know we're running
Yeah.
out of time, so let's be brief here. I do not understand how people got it confused in Tempe. I don't. But maybe to an extent, if you have a voting populace that chooses to not educate themselves on what they're voting on, it's better to not put yourself in a position where you need the vote. Because this is a pretty simple concept. If you don't agree with the Coyotes, if you do not like them, and you have whatever opinion you want. You guys know I'm not pro public money to build an arena. You guys know that. But it's like, oh, I don't want my tax dollars going to this arena. Okay, cool. Do not go to the district. Don't go to concerts there. Don't shop there. Don't rent a room there. Don't live on site. Don't do any of that. None of your money will go to it. As we currently understand, we do not have any further details of any active negotiations or like fine
Nope.
prints or anything like that. None of that has been publicly available yet.
It was literally just a discussion that was made and a lobby from that one former executive who's trying to bring the soccer team here.
And that's an MLS team, right? Because we already have it's
Yeah,
USL.
Yeah, we have
Phoenix
USL and
Rising?
the Phoenix Rising. They're playing, and and from my understanding, I think the Phoenix Rising probably could end up using that new facility too.
Well, they're building the one that's off like right next to the airport over in Phoenix. It's not a great area they're building in, but it also just shows that they didn't actually care about a stadium going up near the runway. But whatever, not like that matters now.
right? No, you're right. But it is interesting that so as of right now, it was just a little bit of lobbying from that individual who talked about legislation for the theme park district.
Would it
That
be
is
lobbying or just public support of? I just want to get the terminology like clear.
Let's see.
Because unless I misinterpreted, it sounded like he just was like explaining his support for it.
I think you said testified.
So I guess that could be legally law. I just want to make sure we're getting terms correct here. That's it. It's all. I just work here. I just want to go to bed. It's past my bedtime.
Yeah, sure. Any final thoughts?
Josh Doan. I rest my case, Your Honor.
Josh Doan. All right, that's going to be it for today's episode of Locked On Coyotes. If you like what you heard, don't leave a review, like, comment, subscribe if you have yet to already. We're available everywhere you get your podcasts, including on YouTube, SiriusXM, ad-free on Amazon Music. Don't forget to interact with us on social media. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/LockedOnCoyotes, and on X at LO_Coyotes. I'm personally at Robyn_Leano. Matthew Jacobson is no longer at the AZ Sports Guy.
Nope.
Matthew, where are you at now?
I am at Coyote Matt 265.
Follow us, interact with us, and ask us any question you might have. We might answer right back or on a future episode of the Locked On Coyotes podcast. Thanks again, everyone, for listening to today's episode. Hope you guys are staying safe out there. Hope you guys are staying healthy. And don't forget to howl on.